MN, its owners and/or associates.
Lisa and Robin are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robin on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live. We are always live on YouTube, and we are up on Spotify and every place that you find your favorite podcasts after the show is over. Welcome to Bike Week.
Whoop, whoop.
Welcome to the beginning of the summer.
And we are having some good weather today.
Finally.
Yes, it looks like we're going to have some good weather going into the weekend.
Yes, we're going to have our first sunny weekend in 13 or 14 weekends.
It's the first day of summer tomorrow.
That's right. We're ready. We are so ready for this. So,
actually 2 days.
What's today?
The 19th.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, that's right. Juneteenth. I did get a happy Juneteenth in my text this morning.
So you guys went up to Bike Week this weekend.
I did. And
what was the best part?
So far, the best part has been that my babe's got a new red CVO.
Nice.
But not from Laconia Harley. We thought that they were giving away great deals.
Yeah, and they're not?
No, he actually got it from the Seacoast Harley, so shout out to them. But that's probably the best thing is that he finally has a non-red Harley.
That's awesome. Non-black.
I'm sorry, non-black Harley.
He's got a red Harley. Send me a picture.
I know I didn't. I've got to send you a picture. It all happened kind of fast.
Yeah.
It all happened kind of fast. But it's
because
really
Monday you didn't have one.
Monday I didn't have one. Yesterday we had one. And what's really funny is that he bought his other bike in June as well. And it was going back up to Bike Week with my in-laws renting 2 years in a row that kind of put the bug back in for riding motorcycles because we've always had motorcycles. He's always had a motorcycle. It was actually one of his graduation gift. I put $1,000 down on a Honda CBR 900 for him for his graduation gift.
That's awesome.
And so that he could, have a motorcycle because I was a motorcycle person.
Yes.
So I actually got my motorcycle license a couple of years before then, and I was saving up to buy a bike. And then once I was on the back, and this was when we weren't together. So what has been your experiences with motorcycles? I don't even know.
I have very limited.
Do you have very
nobody
limited?
has read. My son and my daughter's boyfriend and that whole crew, they used to ride dirt bikes and stuff. And they got...
So have you been on the back of a motorcycle a lot?
Not a ton. This guy I was dating that went to the Virginia Military Institute, he had a bike, and we were racing these back roads in the middle, like a rice burner. Then one of the
So
dentists...
you were perched like a gargoyle on the back. Yeah.
Yes. Like a Klingon, too.
I always felt like a gargoyle, like when I got up there, like my knees were up on my shoulders.
Well, you're kind of laying there, and so you just really see the road beside you, like,
going whizzing by.
Yes, and all the trees, and, like, you don't see what's ahead of you. And it's at night. And then a Harley, a friend of ours had a Harley. And I've ridden my son's dirt bike a couple of times, but it was way too big for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really want like a little 80.
Yes. Yeah. I think those little 50s are perfect.
Yes. They need just a step up from a tricycle. But.
Yes. Yeah. So I lived in a 3-family. The tenants below, who I absolutely loved, she was a vet tech. He was a carpenter. They helped me rescue many animals. And I used to pet sit their cat when they would go on vacation, and they were childless, and they used to travel all the time, and I just really, really liked them. They were very, very nice people, and he had a motorcycle, and so I used to sit on the stairs, and he used to come to pick her up. And then, just longingly looking, as this young kid. And so he's like, do you want to go for a ride? So they put the helmet on me, and he'd do a square. He'd take a right, go down a couple of streets, take a right, come in, and, so I'd get 5 minutes on the bike. And that's sort of cemented in my love of motorcycles from
That's
that young kid
awesome.
being on the back. It felt so dangerous and
Yeah.
exciting. And then I had a couple of male friends who had motorcycles, and I would always go on the back of theirs. Then I had a boyfriend had one. So I'm like, I'm going to get my own. So I took a motorcycle riding course. What was funny about this was it was right after I started to learn to fly. So at Hanscom Air Force Base, they had the motorcycle course where you go around on another bike. It's like a 250cc, so you can't kill yourself
Ooh.
just yet. You're not bringing your bike there.
Right.
You're doing it on theirs. And so they do 3-day riding course. There's like a baby ground school equivalent where you go and they...
That's cool.
Yeah. But what was funny is, so the weekend forecast is rain. So I say, when are we rescheduling the classes? And they look at me like I'm out of my mind. They're like,
Yeah.
we're riding in the rain. I'm like, I'm not going to ride in the rain. And he's like, you live in New England. You're going to ride in the
You're
rain.
gonna ride in the rain.
So I rode in the rain for 16 hours
Oh
straight.
my gosh.
It poured. And I didn't have rain gear. I was like 19 or maybe 20. I barely had enough money for anything with all my jobs, my rent payment, my flying lessons, college. Like I didn't have any extra money, so I'm like in jeans, soaking wet jeans on a bike for 8 hours on Saturday and 8 hours on Sunday, and I'm like a walking yeast infection here. I had like mushrooms growing out of my armpits.
So listen to this. So two of the boys, Noah and Logan, they decided that they were going to get gold wings. It literally, like when they pull in the driveway together, I mean, but they paid like $500 for it.
Yes.
And they've tweaked them a little bit. So it was last weekend or the weekend before that they had a cystic fibrosis charity ride up at the Lakes region. So they do that they've done it every year for many years. And they usually take their dirt bikes. Well, they decided that they were going to camp and ride their Gold Wings up, and they were going to ride the circuit. They did a lot of loops around the lake, but and they did go on some dirt, but they pull in. It looks like the Chips. Remember the movies of the
Yes.
Chips? And
These
it's just,
giant
oh
bikes.
my god, they're so fun. And these guys are like little dudes. I mean,
Yes.
they're not little. They
Right.
I didn't say that.
No, they're not Hell's Angels.
Yeah, they're not like
Vested.
these big,
Jacked,
Yes,
puffy.
these are engineers and accountants.
They've got on polos, button-down polos.
Not MMA or
Yes.
not Hell's Angels, but they showed us some pictures where they were
Not Instagram
soaking
male
wet. Yes,
influencers who are always taking their shirt off right when the camera's rolling on Instagram.
right. They took a picture, like there's 4 of them. It was pouring down rain and they were soaked to the bone. They hung out for like 2 hours in a gazebo and tried to sleep because everything else, their tent was wet. One of them's got a picture of him. His shoes are soaking wet. Trash bags around him while he's tied around the ankles while he's riding. And I was like,
My sister-in-law always says we should, buy 500 ponchos for $1 a piece online and then sell them for $10.
yes.
And just walk around flinging out
yes.
ponchos because you're
Like at a ball game.
Yes.
Popcorn, popcorn.
$10 ponchos, $10, because we did see some people with trash bags too. But so that was my intro. And then once I got together with my spouse, he was such a good rider. It was like, what am I even doing? I'm not nearly as good. I don't have nearly the experience.
Right.
Because he was on dirt bikes. Every bike he rode, he built a ramp at the end of the street.
Yeah.
He just had that. And I'm like, I probably am safer on the back of his bike than on my own. And so that's why I didn't get my own. But I was saving up for a motorcycle at the time. And at the time, I just wanted something little. Like even I was at the Harley dealership the other day. And some guy walks up. I'm standing next to the bike that he's interested in while he's off talking to someone. And the guy comes over. He's like, is this the one you're looking at? I'm like, this weighs like 900 pounds. There's nothing in this dealership that I could lift off the kickstand.
I am currently standing here looking at it.
And I was like, how sweet that they're like, is this the one you're looking? This is the one
Is
you're
this one you
interested in? No. And he wasn't a salesperson. He was actually looking at that bike. So I think he didn't want to
Oh.
step in front of like, hey, I'm thinking of looking at this bike. So I was like, is this the one
gotcha.
you're interested in? No,
No,
not
absolutely
at all. And in my head, when I have a motorcycle, I'm having a Ducati.
Yes.
So the fastest thing I can kill myself on. I want to do that right away. I don't want to be taking my time.
Well, one of the
Being crushed underneath it with broken wings. No.
one of the kids came over. I couldn't tell you the name of the bike, but it is a fast bike. And he comes over and he's like dangling the key to Chris, and he's like, "You want to go for a ride?" And he's like, "What?" He just did the keys at first. Chris totally missed it, and I was like, "No, he doesn't need to." And he's like, "Don't need to do what?" Like, so 5 minutes later, Chris is like, he said, "Hey, you want to go for a ride? I got the bike here." Chris gets his flip-flops on and takes it up the hill, and you can literally hear him like 2 miles away. I'm still like, that is such a bad combination.
Flip-flops and the bike is a wicked bad combination.
And at night. And I'm like, this is a heavy, fast bike.
Yeah. Yeah, the flip-flops just would make me cringe.
And so all the boys, like there's 5 of them at our house, they all just leave the pool deck and are down there. And I just went inside. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not going to be any part of this.
I'm just going to pray inside. I'm just going to pray inside.
I'm inside.
So yeah, so
not happening.
That's the favorite part of Bike Week. But it was really funny. We tried to go to the hill climb yesterday, but it was raining in the morning. So we're like, oh, we'll go up a little bit later. And then we missed the hill climb altogether.
What time was the hill climb?
9:00 in the morning.
Oh.
We got up there right before 3.
Yeah.
Because it was raining, and then by the time you drive up and you unload and blah, blah, blah.
So what
blah,
did they
blah.
have yesterday afternoon? Like, what do they have
They
going on
had,
during the week?
East Coastin did their stunt riding. That's where they do wheelies and burnouts and everything. And it was really funny because it started to rain. So both my brother-in-law and my spouse went to cover the seats of the bike. So I'm all by myself just waiting. And I do have my motorcycle riding outfits. So they are, leather vests, corseted things, leather pants, chaps. I do have all of those things. But with the rain, I was like, I'm not wearing leather. It's 100 degrees with humidity.
Yes.
I'm just in normal jeans and like a little sheer top or something. And so when those two leave, I look out of place. All of a sudden I look like I don't belong.
Yeah.
And I've got my hat on. It does say Harley on it, right? So I'm standing there and the 2 sheriffs come over and they're like, "Hi." I'm like, "Hi." So we start talking, And I said, have you ever seen the East Coast crew doing their stunts? And one of them says, I don't get the appeal. I've ridden bikes my whole life. I just don't understand the whole burnout piece. He goes, I understand like it for a second or a minute. I go, that's because you pay for your own tires and you're paying for your clutches and
right.
you're paying, you're paying out of your own pocket, so you don't want to burn out things in 5 minutes.
Right.
So we had it was a funny conversation, but then my 2 humans came back and then they were like, okay, we can leave you alone because you looked for a second. This was a duck out of water without other ducks available. But my point on telling that story is, one of the things that I think is really interesting is they claim Harley's been having a hard time with sales.
Mm.
And so kind of there was this idea that it was their CEO and their diversity, the DEI policies that had put in place. But the other thing, and this kind of goes into housing, it kind of goes into anything, if less and less people can afford your product,
right.
These new bikes are $45,000, $50,000. They're $800 a month payments.
Well,
So what I don't think people really. So I do think that there was a time when Harley was appealing not to its client base, not to its customers by doing that DEI.
Yeah.
And this is what companies get wrong, right? So you want to be diverse and inclusive. Motorcycles are diverse and inclusive, but they are so not forced from above under a category, but by a hobby.
Yes.
So I told everyone this. One of my brother-in-law's friends was, going online like to girls like, "Hey, do you like motorcycles?" And he was with a girl who liked a motorcycle yesterday, right? We've met so many people over the years. There has never been a time that we've been on a bike that we haven't met other people on bikes, or that people haven't come up to us.
It's a community.
It is a community.
It's a community.
And it doesn't need to be forced
right
through this policy component. It doesn't need to be forced. It happens naturally by the inclusion of the enjoyment of the activity.
Yes. Yes.
So the minute you become a motorcycle person, guess what? Whether you're gay, lesbian, trans, or whatever, you now are part of a community, not because you belong to letters, but because you belong to a community wrapped around a love of adventure and riding.
Yes.
And I think that's what the CEO lost, that previous
Well, I think
CEO.
you try to get in politics, and it happens every single time. Look at Nike, when they had controversy, like different things that they, would put on who's the guy who wouldn't take a knee, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of things where they push something, Coke or there was a Super Bowl commercial or
Yes.
whatever it was. When you get into politics, your opinion, you should keep your opinion quiet, because you had a good thing going and now you're trying to be like, let's get in the forefront. However you want to do it, get in the forefront of it. Let's go speak our mind. People don't want to speak your mind. People buy your product because of that. Like Harley, you've done so much. You're paying for the name. You're paying for the label. You're paying for that community.
Yep, and you're paying for that technology that went into that. It used
Yes.
to be that those types of bikes, the reason why you had a Rice Rocket was they were fast.
Right.
Now these Harley baggers are fast. They have great horsepower. They have great engines in them.
Yeah.
So what I noticed that there's an aging population. So the baby boomers who might have been the group before that was very Harley oriented, and like John was the Rice Rocket group,
Yeah.
right, that come up, and now they've switched over, and mostly it's for my benefit. It's so that I'm comfortable on the back. I joke around that I sat like a gargoyle perched on top, and
Yes.
I did look like a
Yes.
gargoyle. That was an uncomfortable position to be in for 3.5 hours up to Montreal or whatever.
Yes.
So and so part of switching to that other bike is, okay, put a comfortable person, give them a sissy bar so they can sit back on something, not be.
Dude, I want a deep seat. I want a lounger.
So I will.
A lazy
I will
boy
have
back
you
there.
go. Yeah, you should go with John or Rob on the back of their bike and do a little tooling around, because there is something to me. If you like the wind in your hair, you like adventure, all of that, then motorcycles are the way to go.
Yeah.
And John was telling me that Logan, your daughter's boyfriend,
Yes.
is a motorcycle person.
Yes.
He's a truck person. So he's been texting my guy going, hey, can we go ride soon?
Oh, yes,
And
yes,
those two
yes.
were, hey, I just bought a bike. Send me pictures, whatever. But that is something that happens naturally.
Yes.
It's not it's not forced.
Yes.
And so maybe the new CEO will will remember that. Maybe the new, they got away from some of the sponsorship things that they were involved in. Maybe if they get back to their client base and also make a price point that's affordable.
Right.
Not everyone can afford a $40,000 to $50,000 toy. I mean, everyone's just buying payments. The same thing with houses,
Right.
the same things with cars. But everything has just gotten so expensive. How can we afford to do it all?
Right. It's not catching up. We're not catching up to the pricing. It's, we're price gouging ourselves, and we're not
Yes.
having the ability to catch up for it.
Right. And someone put tariffs, and I'm like, how does tariffs affect a Harley bike? Isn't that made in the United States?
I don't know.
Now I have to look it up. Because when I was looking up, like, what's affecting Harley sales, because in my head, what's affecting Harley
Well,
sales is
if
the
it's
price
made,
point.
if it's made in the United States, but don't you get some of your materials and supplies from overseas?
Yes.
So, like, even like the cost of lumber and all of that stuff, like construction pricing is gone up. It's gone through the roof because some of the stuff is overseas.
Okay, so it says they're assembled in the United States. Okay, interesting. Yeah. So, and I don't think it's the tariffs at all. I think having a $50,000 toy that you use twice. I mean, and they do have some lowriders that are like a year old that are 22. So there are different price points, but again, the same thing with housing. Who can afford a $900,000 house? And it's not that people can't afford it, of course they are. But you want to have more sales, you want the most amount of people, the entry point for the most amount of people to buy this.
Yes.
And of course, that's why
Yeah.
people buy used bikes and all of that other stuff. But I just thought, this AI answer of like all of these different reasons, not one of them said price.
Right.
I was like, AI probably, you know why? Because AI doesn't work for a living.
Right.
Get a paycheck and try to divide that amongst
They have
all
no
its
concept
bills.
of the value of money.
They have no concept. AI has zero concept of the value of money.
Just go do it. So what do they have? Are you guys going up to Bike Week this weekend?
So we are going up this
It's
weekend.
supposed to be nice.
So it's supposed to be really nice. I think that there is, we will have, I missed my favorite band, which was Rotten Apple, because they were playing on Monday. Why are they playing on Monday?
Yeah, Mondays are hard.
Mondays are hard.
Ugh.
at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
10 to 1 on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
So I hope they had a good turnout. I hope the show was great because people are sleeping up there.
Yeah.
You know, they're taking off from work, but we're kind of working still and going back and
Going
forth.
back and forth.
So it's supposed to be nice weather, so hopefully we do some riding. We have my nephews with us, so one of us will always be back to hang with them,
That's
catch
cool.
frogs and tadpoles, and walk them up and down Wares, get them ice cream.
Yes, it sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Just sightseeing.
Yes. People watching
Yes.
is great.
Yes.
And bike
Yes.
watching. There were a couple of, remember back in the day, I can't remember the name of the bike, but they used to build their own custom bikes out of like Frankenstein parts.
Oh, yes.
Choppers.
Yes, 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 yes.
I saw so many beautiful choppers yesterday. And I like a chopper because it's unique,
Yes,
you know?
it's different.
Yeah, but I do like the CVO versus
I
the
don't know.
Road
Do you?
Glide.
You'd have to have some muscles, some shoulder muscles, to have those big old handlebars that you're above your helmet. Your hands are above your helmet.
And lose circulation
And
like
you're-
at the shoulders.
Yes. I don't think I could do a long ride like that. See them all squatting down.
Well, one of the things I was thinking of is like it's really hard for one of the things that has been kind of coming up as an ongoing theme is that adulting is hard.
Yes.
Which of course it is. Adult friendships are hard. So a lot of people have really close friendships from their childhood. And I also think that just like making sure you connect with your right group of people who like to do the same things you do.
Mm-hmm.
My brother-in-law was coming up on his motorcycle and he was saying that some guy came off the highway, saw him, and then weaved all the way over and rode with him. And that's not unusual.
That's cool.
On
yeah.
the highway, if you're around other people, we were on the Harley, and there were 3 rice burners, and we were driving, and they kind of came up to us, and they like rode with us like in formation for
Yeah.
a minute, and then like nodded their helmet, and then just flew off.
That's awesome.
You know, and so there's something in the spirit of that.
Yeah. Because it makes you feel included. It makes you
Yes.
seen, heard. Like, hey, we're gonna line with you guys for a little. Yes,
It's like you may not agree with anything else this person has, but you have one thing in common.
yes.
And that's all you need.
Well, it's kind of like I see you,
Yes.
and
It's-
you're like, I see you,
yes, me too.
and I appreciate you.
Remember when
Yes.
3-year-olds, when, like, I think of my nephews, they're so young, they're like, do you like Legos? Me too.
Yes, yes.
We're still that
They're
kid.
so excited. Yes, well, I don't think we ever lose our.
No, if we can
Child
hold a
or
if we
inner
can
child.
hold childhood trauma from 7, and we're
Yes.
walking around as 7-year-olds who've had trauma,
Yes.
we can be the fun 7-year-old.
Yes, yes.
And so that's what I was thinking for this friendship. We need more belonging. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for a community, you have to you find it in things that you enjoy. One of the jokes that I was saying when my brother-in-law's friend was like, do you like motorcycles? I said, they were kind of teasing, but at the same time, that's really true. If you're going to be on your motorcycle 16 weekends in the summer, you better make sure that the person that you're
Right.
with also likes to be on motorcycle
Yes.
16. Or you're going to be like the golf widow. You're going
Yes.
to be a motorcycle widow.
Yes.
Where I'm not going to
Yes.
go on with you.
Well, it is important. I think it helps. One of the things that nurtures a relationship, a friendship, or any kind of relationship, you have to have those things that are in common.
Yes, and then things that you can enjoy together.
Yes.
And so that young kid in me that was on the back of, it was Kathy and Joe were the tenants' names, wherever they are in the world. I wish them well. But getting on the back of Joe's motorcycle, whenever he did that, that made my day. To like, and it built something in that was like a lifelong love. That's been a love affair that I've had my whole
I
life.
think
I
just
love to be
it
on the back
created
of
a
a bike.
curiosity in somebody that was willing to take the time to give you an experience.
Yes.
And I think that's what's beautiful. Giving
And I
you
love
an
how we didn't ask my
opportunity and-
parents or anything.
Yeah.
He just put me on the back.
Let's go.
They would say no.
Of course.
We're not going to ask. I'm going to ask for permission.
My mom would still say no today.
Right. I know, right? Greg Giraldo, he's passed away, but he was a great comedian, and he said that he has buttless chaps.
Yes.
And it was more important to tell his mom that he was gay than to say that he rode a motorcycle. She was way more accepting of him being gay than for him to ride. You're not riding a motorcycle. No, Mom, I'm gay. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Oh my God, I love it. Yes, 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 yes.
But he does it the way he says.
Well, I still feel the same way. I don't have those same experiences. Like, I had a friend of ours who had a fat boy, and he took me for a couple of rides and stuff. But it was always down to if you're going to get a motorcycle, if you had the choice, it was a motorcycle, a boat, or a camper. I'm always going to go for the boat.
I know. I want a boat badly.
We had a boat, and I just feel
What
like it's
kind?
the same thing. We had the first one. I can't remember the maker of it. It was a cuddy cabin, a sleeper. So it was perfect because when the kids were little, they would go and take their nap down there, and then you get like a couple of free hours on the boat, and they come stumbling out. We've slept on it a couple of times. We had a date night, which was cool. But then we got a Stingray, a bow rider, and we had that for up until we got divorced, like 20.
So I'm a big fan of pontoon boats for lakes because they're like living rooms on the water. They're very comfortable. There's lots of places to lie out. You can eat on them easily. You can hold a lot of people easily. So I still want a pontoon boat.
Oh, now that we went to the boat show, oh my gosh, I want a pontoon boat. I'm also at a different age in my life where we don't. I mean, our kids would probably do the skiing and stuff like that, but it was
Can we put 2 engines
we
on
were
the back of the pontoon boat and just
Gee,
drag
yes,
everyone along?
you actually they do make them more powerful enough now that they pull skiers or tubers and things like that. I'm like, yeah. So I would, if I were going to buy a boat now, it would definitely be a pontoon boat.
Yeah, and I think like years ago it would be like, oh, who wouldn't want like a formula boat to go fast on the ocean? But now I just think my joints can't take it. My joints
think
can't
you should
take
have to have
bouncing on the
2.
water.
So
Of course, you should have 2.
some of our friends, one of our friends has a it's a 70s Chris Craft, and it sits really low and it sounds like a Harley. Like you hear that rumble and you can just hear it churning in the water. Like that's such a sexy sound. It's like this purple. It's almost like a pinkish purple. It's got a purple in it. It is such a sharp, but he named it Mustang Sally.
That's
And
a great
he's
name.
had that, and then you have that. So that's one that you just tool around it. After dinner, sunset cruise. If it's just the two of you, you get down in that boat. You're just down low in the water, have a glass of wine, watch the sunset. Like, yeah. Same thing about Harleys, like motorcycles. Lake life is a whole different world. Like when you're outside, people will just pull up to your dock and like, hey, have a beer. They pull a beer out of their cooler and like, oh, we're having some barbecue. We've got some stuff on the grill. You want to, or they just come and hang out and stop by and say hi for a while. Or I love lake life. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yes, we had friends who had a place on Newfound Lake and they had a pontoon boat. So that was our summers, was up there doing that. And that's, to me, I think Newfound Lake is a great lake. It changes over something like 7 or 9 times a year. That's why the water's so clean.
Wow.
Water is very clean.
Wow.
And it's not nearly as busy as Lake Winnipesaukee because it's not nearly as big.
Yeah.
Because sometimes Lake Winnipesaukee packed. But we always rent a boat up there and we go up. But I think I'm ready for a boat.
Me too.
But I'm also looking into those.
The rent a boat.
club?
Yeah, boat club.
Where it's almost like timeshare of a boat where you pay a monthly fee and you can use different boats. But the one consideration, and I have to figure this out, is can you take the boat out after 4? Because all rentals never allow you to take the boat out after 4. And to me, I always want to do sunset on the boat.
I think you should be able to rent it for overnight. I think you should be able to have an overnight rental.
So that's going to be. I had
The only problem is a lot of times if you do an overnight rental, I think it would have to be a specific kind of boat because unless you had a place to moor it or dock it.
Right.
Because if you just went and rented it for the day and stayed.
Yeah, where are you docking it?
Yeah.
So that's I think that's the better way to go sometimes, just the maintenance. Your boat being down, because that's the thing about the motorcycle. You can't have your boat be down in the summer.
Even to store it, even to winterize it. If you don't winterize or have a place to do it at home, it can get really expensive. Having somebody, because we used to have ours wrapped every winter and then store it because we did not have the space for it. And and then getting it out and, just maintaining it. We actually had a chance to buy a 4-person sleeper sailboat for a really good deal, but it was the largest. Like you could not go up at any size before you couldn't trailer it on the road anymore. You had to have somebody take care of it. You couldn't trailer it. And I'm like, I just don't want to deal with that because then you have to pay somebody to moor it because you don't want to pull it in and out. And it was like back then, it was like $500 a month just to moor it.
Mm.
And then you still got to get somebody to go out there. And I'm like, no, I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. It's too much. I also heard that they have golf packages like that too. You can do like a golf club, and you can play in some of these really swanky PGA tour golf courses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the cost is, but you can.
And then
pay
you could
into it.
travel with that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, actually.
I think you can go anywhere with it, but then you have to pay like the cart fees and all that stuff. The green fees, but it
Mhm.
allows you the access to some of these really nice golf courses.
What is the closest PGA golf course here?
Connecticut, maybe.
Okay.
There might be one in Massachusetts. I
Are
know
there some in
there's
Florida?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking anywhere that has nice weather all the time, right?
Yes.
Arizona, California,
Well, even
Texas.
the U.S. Open last week was in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
I mean, it's a really like the landscape. There's nothing special. It's like right in the middle of the city. At one point, you can see like they have a bridge that goes over the highway, like a 4-lane highway. But it's the difficulty of the greens, and so they make it. They make up for it. You can watch standing on the green, like different perspectives. It almost is like a hill climb, the way it's so sloped. And some of the grasses is so thick around the sand traps that a lot of people, they actually take the penalty shot because the grass is so thick. So it's challenging that way as far as instead of like distance.
So have you been to Granite Links in Quincy?
Mm-mm.
That's supposed to be a really beautiful golf course for around here. They have like a really nice restaurant up there, and a lot of the real estate events for the IREM community gets hosted there. That's how I know about that one. I couldn't remember the name of it for a little bit. I know it's not. I don't believe it's PGA quality, but I know nothing about golf, so. And again, it's because I have not been part of that community. Golfing with you guys was the first time I ever golfed.
We need to get you guys down to Shattuck.
Okay. I'm going to take my lessons. I still have 5 lessons left.
It's different between like when you played at like Loudon. I think we played at Loudon or Stonebridge. I think we went to Stonebridge.
Where is that? I thought that was up.
I think that's where we all went with John. I think the first time we went out. Golfstown.
Oh, okay. Wow. And then somewhere we drew this. Really drove the second time. I want to say we drove like an hour. That's why I thought it was.
It might have been Loudon.
Okay.
We might have played Loudon, or those are kind of just wide open golf courses. You can hit your driver. The fairway is a field wide.
Mm-hmm.
Shattuck is not like that. It definitely makes you play target golf. Like you have to. I don't think any of the boys hit their driver. Maybe not even their 3-wood. They're hitting like irons off the clubs.
I do
just to
blank
get
stare at the woods when
like,
she starts talking. I'm like a 3 or a 4 or a 9.
You're like, huh? A putter. So we do have some fun things that were coming up. They have a UFO festival in Exeter.
When is that?
It is August 30th and 31st. I guess they said it was a huge success last year. I can't imagine doing the UFO.
I want all of our conspiracy theorists, alien conspiracy theorist people there. That would be really fun.
So if you go to visitnewhampshire.gov, Night at the Museum, Rockin' the Docks. That's June 20th. That's in Moulton Borough.
Ooh, right up the street. Is that a concert?
I think they do Rockin' the Docks, but Night at the Museum. Let me check what the details are. But I was like, I want to do that.
On the 20th?
Yeah.
We'll just come up. We'll ride
I
up
can't.
there.
I had a big day tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Which is Boat Museum. Gather your friends and join us for an unforgettable evening of great food, live music, a silent auction, and community spirit to support the New Hampshire Boat Museum's 2025 season. First prize is the Freedom Boat Club membership, plus 3 months dues.
Ooh.
Donated by the Freedom Boat Club, valued at $9,000. Second one is Old Town Sportsman Autopilot Kayak. I don't really care about a kayak. Mission Reef
Are you a
splash
kayaker?
mat.
Have you
No.
kayaked?
I mean, I have, but it's like it's kind of like paddleboarding for me. I don't understand it. It's boring. I just think it's boring.
I think that it's supposed to be peaceful. Like
It's a lot of work, especially if you don't have a lot of upper body strength. Like I like the idea, and like, man, you see some of these guys. Like we're down in North Carolina, and the guy's got his dog on the front of his paddleboard. Or even when we were in St. Lucia, this guy would take his longboard out every day, and just you would see him go all the way around this island and come back. And like, man, after you've done it, like, I don't see the draw in it. I don't see the lure.
I've barely boarded, but I can see it, on vacation or I wanted to go in Florida with you because you can do it on the Intercoastal, and in the early morning or the late afternoon, the dolphins are all there.
See, that could be pretty.
So to me, it's like, well, you don't have an engine, you're not going to disturb them. They'd be curious.
Yeah.
Like, but I think there's going to be an interaction
Yeah.
there. So, but we jam pack our days, so we didn't get to. So, bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
So we have something to look forward to because I definitely want to.
Yes,
do that.
I could do it, but I'm just not. I'm not one of these things that I want to go and do it for hours.
or for every day.
And it's hard. You have to build up your upper body strength. But do you like kayaking?
No,
I think if there
I
were-
don't think I've ever kayaked. I tried canoeing. We had a canoeing experience, which involved one of you doesn't know where the other one's going, so the other one's like, "You're not doing it right," and you're like, "Well, I don't know what side you're on because I don't have eyes in the back of my head. So why don't you do the opposite of what I'm doing instead of me do the opposite of what you're doing?"
So we have the two. So when we were in St. Lucia, we're in the 2-person kayaking over to this little island, and kayaking in the ocean is a lot different than it is in the water.
Okay,
in
yeah.
the
Lake.
lake. And
That's
it's
where I
fun, but
kayaked.
it's kind of like it's still a small boat for me. I just think I need a bigger boat. And Chris
And
is
an
like, "I'll
engine.
just let me paddle."
Yeah.
And every once in a while, he's like, "All right, put your oar this way, put your oar that way,"
So
and he's like, "Now just coast."
I've outrigger paddled, but there's 6 of you. You go first thing in the morning. It's very peaceful. I've done that. The kayaking I've done, which is limited, which is when I was in way better shape than I am right now.
See, I think
cardiovascularly.
Yes, I think a skiff would be fun, like the whole rowing
Yes.
all together. Like that would be fun.
Yeah, I don't like the one side, then the other side.
Yes.
Then I found
Yes.
that exhausting.
My arms
And by
get tired,
myself.
and I get
'cause
tired of lifting my oar.
I can't take the cat litter up the stairs anymore. I got to really start getting into like lifting heavy weights. I went from 8 pounds to 15 pounds. I couldn't move for 3 days. I'm back down to 8 pounds on my arms.
Oh, yes, we lose it. Hillsborough Summer Festival. They have, I think it's July 10th. Starts July 10th. That's Thursday, and it goes all the way to Sunday, and it all is like 6 p.m. to 10
Greeley
p.m.
Park usually has free music on Wednesday nights.
Yes, that's true. So it doesn't. Prescott Park too does an art festival, art museum thing. That's Portsmouth, but I think they also have music at Strawberry Bank. And I'm like, it's just a great place to just go. Like Portsmouth is a great place to go on a date night on a Friday night. It's nice. You walk around, have some dinner. There's always a place down, I think, at Strawberry Bank for the music.
I always like going 101. I like that as a highway to get over there.
Yeah.
It seems like it's never very trafficy.
Yeah, I like that. So the Hillsborough thing, they have some interesting things. Well, they have a 5K road race, the beer tent. They have a ground performers arrive. I don't know what that. They have a fireworks show. They had a kids cupcake eating contest, pie eating contest. They have a carnival. So, and I think that's when they do the hot air balloons too. Those are neat to watch.
I've watched them a couple of times. I think the last time I watched it was in Derry. Oh no, Montreal. We were driving up to Montreal and they were all going off on the side.
Bubble and Beats, Steep Canyon Rangers Live, the Colonial Theater in Bethlehem. That's all June 20th. Sea Glass Art Creations. 3D Liquid Glass Art on Wood is June 24th in Bedford. I'd like to do that.
What day of the week is the 24th?
No, the 21st. It's this Saturday.
Oh, this Saturday. Okay. You're out.
Yes, I'm out.
She's very busy. Very, very busy. June.
Community Arts Festival in June 21st in Moulton Borough. I want to go and do some art festivals in New England this year. But so if you just check out, visit newhampshire.gov, they have so many things, summer happenings.
Mm-hmm.
What's your probably favorite thing to do in the summer?
Boat.
Yes.
You know, I really love, for John's birthday, my in-laws and I, we rent a boat and we go out on Lake Winnipesaukee. And they're always just great days.
Yeah.
If I had my way, the summer would just be boating and doing the motorcycle
Just
to
being
and from the boat.
Yes.
To and from the
Being
boat.
around the water. Yes.
Yes, I'm a water person. I'm a sand person. I'm a lake person. You know, I like to spend. I'm not a camping person because I'm just too delicious, and
Who
all I
wants
do
to?
is get mosquito bitten. You know, so I'm a daytime sun out person because at night with the mosquitoes and everything, I can get. There's a picture of me. I'm completely wrapped in towels because everyone's doing this. This was at Lenny's, but I'm not getting eaten. I'm like, because they're eating me. Like
Right.
I am the draw, and you were all, you know.
I'm saving you from the bug
I'm
bites.
saving you from the bug bites.
I'm your hero right now. Shut up and sit down. That's what
Right.
I'm
Let me go
saying.
inside. You know, and I feel bad because they're always like, oh, we've got the nice fire out at night. And I'm like, no. You know, I get out there for 3 minutes and then the bugs start biting me and I'm covered head to toe. I've got socks on. It's like, this is just not a good time.
But I don't feel like, see, we're, this last couple of weeks, I
Build
think.
a screen-in porch around me and I'll like go right up to the fire with my screened-in porch.
You need like one of those, you know, the old dressing tape, the old little dressing booths. You need like one of a screened in little booth that you can just pick up and walk with you.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, like if I was a guy with my body type that had to go into like Vietnam during a war, I would have died the third day from all of the bites that I had from all of the malaria-stricken things that were in that jungle.
She died at war. What? Mosquito bites?
Yeah, mosquito bites. I didn't even make it anywhere. I didn't even trek through. Like I would have, when I like look at, so I watched the Predator movie and, you know, they're walking through the jungle. I'm like, I'd be dead. I would I'd have so many mosquito bites or whatever their equivalent of mosquito bites is. I'd have so many that I would just drop dead. When we went to Greece, there were these little bugs. I was calling them no-see-ums, but I don't know what because I couldn't see them.
Yeah.
I had so many bites that first night. I literally broke like a real
Well, you think
fever.
that was black flies?
No, because you couldn't see them. I could just
Oh,
feel them. I'm like,
yeah.
something's biting me. And everyone's like, not biting me. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Like, I can't be here. So that first night, I had so many bites on me because they were all swelling that I literally broke a fever in the middle of the night. Like, I couldn't sleep. I was literally, my
Yeah.
body was fighting. And I was like,
Yeah.
I need Benadryl.
Yeah.
I didn't bring Benadryl to Greece. So that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
If
Always
I
have to pack it.
if I have more than 10 bites on me, I
Chris
have
is
to
like that
Benadryl it.
too. I think like high levels of well, I don't know how
I think
true
it's
it
a
is.
blood type.
Well, it's a blood type, but it's also puts out more you're expelling more carbon dioxide.
So that's why we attract them.
And I think that's what they're attracted to. I think
Right.
because they can smell your blood, and it's like, ooh, that's some
Right.
sweet
Or
blood.
they're like, we know there's a living thing here because
Yeah.
it's breathing. So let's eat it. Disgusting. Mosquito food. So yeah, so I'm not so when you say boat, motorcycle, camper, I'm not camper. I could be a camper if I had a camper
Yes,
that I could sleep in.
yes, I would be. I would do that.
So my first camping experience I was 19. We went with a group of friends. I don't know anything about camping. And they started drinking before they put up the tent, and then it rained, so all the tent stuff got wet. So I had to sleep in a car. Oh. And I was like, I need a hotel. Like, I'm with the wrong friends. I'm with friends who are like, let's go drink in the woods. I'm like, let's drink by a pool
Right.
at a hotel. I'm a hotel girl with bathrooms and showers and sheets and maid service and
Or at the city park, we could just do a campfire there. I want to trek through the woods. I actually love walking through the woods. I like the
during
I
the
like,
day.
Yes. And I do like sitting out the fire at night and stuff. But I think you should just I wonder if you could bring, like, if you were camping or sitting outside, they make those little foggers that you can spray.
So I'm allergic to DEET,
Oh.
which is an all bug
Yeah.
spray. So I'm allergic to bug spray. That's 50% of the problem. So I've never tried any of those other methods because I don't know what they use as the method to keep the bug away.
So
It affects my nervous system.
I'll have to go back. Our dog would just the black flies was so when we had a dog, I made some for him, And I have to try to remember. I have the recipe somewhere, but it's all like oils and things like that, and it really does work because we used it.
Someone was telling me coffee grounds,
Oh, I don't know.
so I can just sit. Everyone give me their coffee grounds for the week, and I'll hang them around my neck like a necklace. Those pouches of coffee grounds.
Like tie them up in like tea bags. You know, you have them just hanging off of you. I don't know why coffee. I don't know if that works or not.
So it's so funny because everything is around being bug bitten. So, like I like places. Every place that I travel, I'll notice the bug population immediately. I'm like, I like this place because did you notice there's no whatever? Or did you notice there's no bugs? That's how.
See, we spray.
We spray too. We spray for ticks and mosquitoes.
And black fly. Yeah. And we have them come. But we also got one of those little propane things that attracts, it puts
Does
off
it work?
yeah. But it takes, you have to do it early. So right before the black flies are going to come out. It's usually like right around Mother's Day is when all that stuff starts happening. So like a week or 2 weeks before you start running that thing. So it'll already start attracting them to them. But really, I mean, we sit outside almost every night and don't have the bugs.
I gotta come to your house.
Because Chris is like, he swells.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to go to the top of the hour. But so this, we have for the New Hampshire fairs, July 23rd through the 27th, the North Haverhill Fair. I've never even heard of that one. The Cheshire Fair is in Swansea, July 31st to August the 3rd. Belknap County 4-H Fair. Have you even heard of these?
Mm-mm.
I haven't either.
I remember the Topsfield Fair. That's one I remember.
Hopkinton State Fair, August 28th. Kids always like to go to that one. The Deerfield, that's September. The Sandwich Fair, October. That's later.
I like Sandcastle. Are there any Sandcastle competitions? Hampton sometimes has them.
Doesn't that? They have it every year, don't
Yeah.
they? So food and drink events. Chowderfest in Brews. Oh, that was May 26th. June. Let's see. Best of New Hampshire Party. Flag Hill Distillery and Wine in Lee, New Hampshire. That's June 26th. New England Hot Sauce Festival. I wonder if
Rob Watts.
Smutty Nose Brewery in Hampton. The annual Gate City Brew Fest and Wing Competition, August 23rd. That's right here in Nashua at Holdman Stadium. That could kind of be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Hampton Beach Seafood Festival, September 5th through September the 7th. I've never been.
Mm-mm.
I wanted to go. Vintage and Vine, Strawberry Bank, September 4th. Claremont, Manchester. Attitash Mountain Annual Oktoberfest. That could be fun. October the 12th. New Hampshire Festivals. Well, Bike Week. 51st Annual Market Days Festival. June 26th to 28th. That's in downtown Concord. Let's see. The Piscataqua River Fest. That could be fun. July 12th, Strawberry Bank. Jericho ATV Weekend.
Oh, funny ATV stories.
All right, gotcha.
So we dirt biked in Jericho, and there is it's just a challenge, everything is dried river rock or boulders or there's all these different things, and I am not a great dirt biker. I dirt bike, but I fall a lot. Run into trees, all kinds of things. I look like a Ninja Turtle because I have all the hard stuff on, so I don't break anything. But you and I should go with the guys to, I think it's Hubbardton. And me, you, and Val should all share my TTR.
Yes, let's do it.
And we can all wear my clothes because I have about an hour's worth of dirt biking before my arms are exhausted. So we're going up Jericho, and the very first thing that we go out on is dried river rock. So literally we're driving on boulders, right? And I make it across like a miracle. I don't know what happened, but I made it across. And John's like, wow, that was really good. I'm like, yeah, but then I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And so then we're going on all of this terrain, and it's dirt, and then it's whatever, and then it's whatever, and then it's shale, which is just like sand but crunchier.
Yes.
And I'm doing something and I'm in the wrong gear and I'm going uphill on a turn and I stop. Don't ever stop uphill.
Yes.
Ever stop
Yes.
uphill. And so my foot starts sliding because it's on this very slippery. If sand could be slippery, that's what shale is. Right? So my left foot starts going because I don't have traction because I'm on a hill too. And then I slowly just drop the bike. I drop the bike not even doing a 1 mile an hour. And I break off the clutch. So we had to limp home in first gear at Jericho State Park. So good dirt
And
bikers
hubby's
go
probably
there.
growling the whole time.
How are we going to get you out?
Girls. So the sandcastle sculpting was June 12th to the 14th.
Oh, I missed it.
Illuminated night viewing is up until the 23rd.
Okay.
So
Stay tuned.
get it in this weekend.
We'll be back. You are listening to Lisa and Robin on the mic on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. We'll be right back.
WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.live.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. The Israeli military is grappling with the possibility Iran used multiple warhead missiles to challenge its Iron Dome. An Israeli military official telling the AP that Iran may have used it in today's attack on a hospital in Beersheba.
The Soroka Hospital, it took a direct hit from an Iranian missile this morning. The front doors of this only trauma center in the south of the country blown off, the bottom of the ground covered in glass, the facade of one of the crucial units entirely blown off. Israel trying to make a count now of what happened this morning.
ABC's Ian Panel. Landfall hours ago for Hurricane Eric near Acapulco was a Category 3. SpaceX is asking people not to approach the test site where its Starship rocket blew up late last night. You could hear the blast from 2 miles away. SpaceX describes the explosion as a major anomaly. Elon Musk says there are no hazards nearby. This is ABC News. Texas governor finds himself caught between hardline conservatives in the state legislature and the mainstream Republican voters who elected and reelected him. ABC's Jim Ryan says lawmakers have approved a statewide ban on the sale of all THC products.
Those products have been legal here since 2019, and a leading GOP polling firm has found strong support among Texas Republicans and Democrats to keep it that way. It all comes down to Governor Greg Abbott.
There are meaningful positions and concerns on both sides of the issue, and I'll look into all of those and evaluate all of those.
Abbott could veto the newly passed THC ban or sign it into law. His third option is to not sign it, in which case the ban would take effect by default. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Using AI large language models like ChatGPT can significantly harm learning, suggests a small study from MIT, that is. Those who took part in this had less intentional engagement. I'm Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captid Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Hi, I'm Lisa Law, New Hampshire Justice of the Peace. I've seen firsthand the stress and expense of large weddings. That's why I opened the Lawfully Yours Wedding Chapel in Nashua, where I host heartfelt and memorable small weddings, elopements, and vow renewals. Before you give up and elope to City Hall, come see the chapel. Let's make your wedding dreams come true. Visit lawfullyyoursweddingchapel.com to learn more and schedule a tour.
Continuing the legacy started in 1904, Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument Incorporated continues to provide the same high-quality monument, custom headstone, and stoneworking craftsmanship today that they built their reputation on over 100 years ago, servicing Nashua, New Hampshire, as well as nearby areas in Massachusetts, such as Lowell, Billerica, Chelmsford, and beyond. From creating custom monuments to memorialize, to landscaping and granite work or restorative